Welcome to Hope Shot Recovery. I'm Sonia. I'm so glad that you can join me today. Today, we're going to talk about 5 things to never do if you're a recovering addict. And we'll follow that up with a couple of things that you can do as someone in recovery. And this is all from my personal experience that I've learned along my journey. So let's get right into it. Okay, the first thing, I never try to save people. I'm not God and I'm not that powerful. I'm not more powerful than the disease of addiction. The best thing that I can do for somebody who is still in their addiction is to lead the way, to show them through my example that recovery is possible and that this really works. I don't go into the trenches and try to pull people out though, because I will be putting myself in a dangerous situation by doing so. I will be pulled down way quicker than I can pull them back up. All right, number two, I don't try to control the outcome of what other people do with their life. I have learned this lesson the hard way. I can't control what somebody does, the decisions that they make, or the path that they choose to go on. And by trying to do so, I'm actually just inserting myself in something that is none of my business and creating chaos in my own life. And quite frankly, it's not going to work anyways. So I don't try to control other people. The only thing that I have control over is myself, my behaviors, my thoughts, my words. I am the only one that I worry about controlling. Number three, I don't put anything before my recovery. I learned this very early on that anything that I put before my recovery, I will lose. And even with some years clean, I'm always a recovering addict before I'm anything else. So I worry about my recovery before the job, before my marriage, before my children, everything. I put my recovery before everything. And the reason why is because I have everything as a result of my recovery. And if I forget that, then I will lose what I have. Number four, I don't pass judgment on how other people recover, how other people believe. The only thing that I have to worry about is how I choose to recover and what I believe in. I don't want to steer anybody from off of the path that they are on. And if it's working for them, then more power to them. I'm just so happy that you believe in something and that you are in recovery, no matter what path that is. And I think we get on a real slippery slope when we try to tell people that their path is not as good as my path. I don't think that's fair. So I just don't judge them at all. And matter of fact, if I find myself in a place where I'm judging somebody else, I need to take a good hard look in the mirror because the way I feel about other people is a reflection of the way I feel about myself. So if I'm passing judgment on somebody else, there's something going on with me. Number five, I don't put myself in unsafe situations. And I feel like this is a really important one. I can't be hanging out at the trap house. I can't be going to the bar. I can't go and do things where I am putting my recovery in jeopardy. And sometimes that means that I can't even go to family events or anywhere where there might be drugs or alcohol around. I have to be really careful about that. And speaking of family events, let's just touch on that for a minute. So, for me, a lot of people that are in recovery come from a family who drinks or smokes or uses drugs. Some people come from a family that was an addiction. It is a family disease. So, for me, if I know I'm going to be going around family and I know they're going to be drinking or using, I go there with a plan, right? I call my support network on the way there and I say, hey, this is what I'm doing. I just wanted to check in with somebody. And then I stay for a period of time. And if it starts bothering me, I leave. And then when I do leave, after a period of time, I call my support network on the way home and I say, all right, I just wanted to let you know I left, I'm safe, I'm sober, everything is fine. But I go in with a plan and I have an accountability partner. And that helps me a lot to get through it because I do want to be able to be around my family. And they don't have to be in recovery just because I am. The world doesn't have to get sober because Sonia did. So, but with that being said, though, there are certain things that I just won't do or go around. You'll never catch me in a bar. You'll never catch me hanging out somewhere where they're smoking dope. Not going to happen because I'm not more powerful than the disease of addiction. Okay, so that's 5 things that I never do as a recovering addict. Now let's get into 4 things that I must do as a recovering addict. Okay, so the first one is to learn your power, right? I had to learn my power. My power is in myself. The only thing that I have power or control over is my thoughts, my words, my behaviors, my actions. That's where my power is. And I'm powerless over everything else. I mean, literally everything else I'm powerless over. The only thing that I have any power over is me, which brings me to the second point, or number 2, which is I had to find a higher power. I had to find a loving, caring God that I could have faith in, right? Because here's the thing, and this kind of goes with number 1. If I'm powerless over everything else that happens around me, but I deeply love people in my life and I deeply care about events and things that happen, but I have no control over them. But here's the thing, I know the one that does have control over those things. So that's where my power comes in my powerlessness, and God comes into my life. Because when I'm feeling powerless over other things or people or, future events or whatever it may be, I can pray about it and have faith that my higher power is going to work it out for the good, that God cares about me, that he loves me, and he cares what happens to me, that he has a plan for me. And if I can believe in those things, then it helps me to stay in my power, which is me, and to take care of what I have control over, right? So if I worry about me, I let God handle the rest and I find peace in that. And that's how I know that I'm living spiritual, is when I'm living in peace. When I'm feeling confused, frustrated, conflicted, that's how I know I'm not living in God's will and I need to surrender something to him. Okay, number 3, connection. I had to get connected to other like-minded people. So in order for me to grow in recovery and to be happy and fulfilled, I had to find a network of other people who are sober or clean that could walk through this journey with me. The disease of addiction is cunning, baffling, and powerful. And nobody that I've ever met, I know for sure me, can do this on their own. We need other people to walk through this journey with us, to support us, to understand us. And that was one of the biggest, most pivotal moments in my recovery. And it's so funny because I was sitting in jail when this happened. I was sitting in jail and I finally felt like I found somewhere I belonged. And the reason I felt like that is because I was in a room full of people who understood me, people who were in addiction. And so, as I went to rehab and then I got out and I got connected in my recovery community, that is the reason I'm still here today. I mean, no matter what happens in my life, I walk through life with those people. And I don't know where I would be without them. I don't believe I could do this without being connected to some people in recovery. So whether that's therapy or going to church or going to meetings or connecting to family or friends or some sort of support group of people who are going after the same things that you are, that want the same things that you do. Okay. And number 4 is I had to do the work in order for me to stay clean. I had to figure out what was causing me to use in the first place. And what I discovered is that I had a lot of trauma when I was younger, right? And the trauma that I had led to me having a fear of being lonely, a fear of abandonment, a fear of rejection. All of those things is what led to my addiction. I was numbing the pain. I was running from myself. I would push everybody away because I thought they were going to leave anyway. So I might as well just push them away and get it over with because nobody could love me. That's what I believed when I was in my addiction. And I had to look at that trauma and fear right in the face and walk through it and talk about it and write about it and do the work on it and identify the pattern. Where did it start at? Who was involved? can I change my perspective on it and see things a little bit differently so that in the future, I can change that pattern and move differently and have options? Because doing the work on myself gave me options. I have options to live a different way, to make different choices, to think about it differently. That's what doing the work did for me. So there you go. 5 things to never do as a recovering addict and 4 things to do as a recovering addict. If you like this video, like, subscribe, drop in the comments which ones do you think is the best of the don'ts or the do's or both, and let me know. All right, have a great day. Thanks for watching.